What's going on YouTube? In today's video, I will be giving you guys my top 5 SMGs that you should be using in Warzone after the Season 5 mid-season update. There's a lot of weapons that got nerfed and buffed, and I'm just giving you guys the top 5 that you should be using. If you enjoyed today's video or you find a class setup that you really like that I provided for you, make sure you hit that like button, sub with those noties on, and let's get right into the video. So for our first SMG, we got the Vanguard Armageddon 43, and I don't want to talk too much. I want to just give you the class setup. Our first attachment for the Armageddon 43 is the recoil booster. Now, if you know, this thing adds extra fire rate to your weapon. Having that increased fire rate helps increase the TTK of this weapon. Our next attachment is a barrel, which is the body 570 precision. This gives us highly accurate and controllable headshot damage and bullet velocity. The extra headshot damage really helps you get a lot more kills, and the highly accurate and controllable part of this barrel really helps stay on target so you can kill enemies better. For our underbarrel for this weapon, we got the Mark 6 skeletal. This gives us 80 speed and that increased movement speed. Always having the extra mobility really helps when using SMG, so you can really move on opponents, strafe, and just have that extra speed to get more kills. Our next attachment is the magazine, the 9mm 55 round mag, just an extended mag. Literally, just because you're playing Warzone, you need those increased bullets so you can kill enemies, like, you know, that are stacking, or if there's 2-3 people, you know, without having to reload. Our next attachment is the ammunition, which is subsonic. This gives us no minimap ping and fire visibility to enemies. I honestly really like subsonic now because it really keeps me off the radar. Some people don't even look at the radar, they barely even know they have it. So with having subsonic, this is really great, but I do recommend you can use hollow point or even lengthen if you want extra bullet velocity. For our next attachment, we got tape grip. This gives us aim and stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, sprint to fire speed, all mobility type of attachments. Like, really gives us that increased mobility. Like I said, movement speed, sprint to fire speed, weapon swap quickness, everything you could use to increase your chances in getting better kills. For perk 1, it gives us increased torso damage, especially because the barrel takes down body damage. If you're shooting in the chest and even shoot up to the head, you're gonna be very fine. This thing really does great damage to this weapon. Our next attachment, which is perk 2, is gonna be quick. This gives us extra sprint speed, literally increased sprint speed, you're faster. Our slate reflector, this is the best optic in the game. This is our optic. It's no point in me even explaining this. You already know why you should be using slate reflector for SMGs. And last but not least, we got the TA skeletal stock. This grants us with aim walking movement speed, aim walking steadiness, ADS speed, and initial fire recoil. This really helps with strafe speed and that extra mobility while you're aiming in and you're walking. So this is the class setup for the Armageddon 43. Let's get right into the next weapon. I know you guys seen me talk about the CX9 at least twice, but this gun is really good, and I really want to give you guys the class setup for it again, just in case you missed it the first 2 times. So for the barrel for the CX9, we are using the CX38S. This gives us damage range, recoil control, bullet velocity, and sound suppression. It really gives us everything in a very accurate barrel, and it adds that suppression on for us, so we don't have to use an attachment slot for it. We are also using the 50 round drum for our magazine. Literally, this thing is terrible on ammo, so if you add the 50 round drum, you can kill a lot more enemies with one clip. For our next attachment, which is the rear grip, we got the CX9 clutch grip. This gives us recoil control. This gun can be a little out of control in a little bit, but if you put this on, I feel like you can control that recoil a lot better. We are running a perk with this weapon, and it will be sleight of hand because the reload on this weapon sucks. So if you add sleight of hand, it will increase that reload by a ton. And last but not least, we got the CXFR. This grants us movement speed and aim down sight speed. I really do appreciate having this because the mobility also sucks on this gun. Really, this gun is really good as far as like having that that TTK, it shoots fast. It's a really good weapon. It's just certain facts about it that off-put it that makes it balanced so it's not overpowered. But this really helps with covering up for that mobility on this weapon. This is the class setup for the CX9, and let's get right into the next weapon. Our next gun, we got the MP40. Now, I ain't gonna lie, this thing is really crazy, and I'm gonna just go ahead and explain all the attachments for you. So for our muzzle with the MP40, we are running recoil booster. Almost any Vanguard SMG, you're gonna run the recoil booster for that extra fire rate to increase that TTK. Next, our next attachment that we have is the barrel, which is the Crosnick 317. This gives us highly accurate highly accurate and controllable, and reduce scope swing and gun bob. This really is an accurate barrel, like really helps you stay on target and kill those enemies. But I do recommend, if you want something a little bit better, use the VDD 189mm short. This gives us damage range, bullet velocity, and limb damage. This also like it really helps increase the TTK for that limb damage and the extra bullet velocity and damage range. Our next attachment is an underbarrel, the Mark 6 skeletal. I almost use this for every single SMG. It's another one that I use, but I didn't show you guys in this video. But this gives us ADS speed and movement speed. I already explained this. You just want to have that extra mobility. We got the 7.62 45 round Garinko. This gives us recoil control, movement speed, ADS speed, and fire rate. Really, all these attachments really help this gun become way better, increases the TTK and the mobility and the recoil. Our next attachment we got for the MP40 is ammunition, which is lengthened. This just adds extra bullet velocity to hit our targets a lot faster. Next, we got take grip. This gives us aim and stability, movement speed, weapon swap quickness, sprint to fire speed. I already explained this. Extra mobility, aim and stability. It's just everything you should want on a Vanguard SMG at least. Our next attachment is momentum. This gives us move speed after kills. I really like this perk because every other perk really has something to do with recoil. I mean, if you want to maximize the recoil, I say go ahead, but I really do appreciate having that extra movement speed when I get those kills, especially to get out of some sticky situations. Running quick for that increased sprint speed. You already know this is just to make us a lot more faster. We got the remove stock, which gives us hip fire accuracy and movement speed. Like I say, having that increased mobility is really a good thing to have on Vanguard weapons. And last but not least, I'm running a Crossneck ISO 1M. It just changes the iron sight a little bit, and I feel like it's one of the best ones, or the 2M as well, but really I like the ISO 1M a lot better. So this is the class setup for the MP40, and let's get right to the next weapon. Our next weapon is the ISO from Modern Warfare, man. I know a lot of people didn't expect to see this gun even receive anything to it, and then got buffed. So let's go ahead and give you the class setup. So for the ISO, we got the barrel, which is the FSS Nightshade. This is like the same thing with the CX9. It gives us damage range, recoil control, bullet velocity, and sound suppression all in one. So you never have to worry about using that other attachment for a suppressor or anything like that. It's really good. This is a really good barrel, and it gives us a lot to offer as far as damage and recoil control. Our next attachment is basically the 50 round drum. Like I said, for the CX9 as well, you just always want to have extra ammo in a weapon like this because hey, the stock ammo is really bad. I mean, they don't offer anything really. Our next attachment is the FTAC Elite ISO grip. This gives us aim down, sight speed, sprint to fire speed, mobility options. Like I always preach, you just want to have that extra mobility to help you win more gunfights. We got sleight of hand, which is that extra reload quickness for this gun. I mean, the reload is not as terrible as the CX9, but it's also increases the chance of you getting back into those gunfights faster if you run out of bullets. And last but not least, we got the ISO collapsible stock. Same thing with the CS9, movement speed, ADS speed. It's basically that no stock feature, which helps us increase the movement speed and the mobility overall. So this is the class setup for the ISO, and make sure, let's get into the last weapon. For our last weapon of the day, we got the MP5 from Cold War. Let's get right into the class setup. So for our first attachment for the Cold War MP5, we got the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and effective damage range. Having those weapons to increase the range, the velocity, and the recoil control, it really is great to have on SMGs, especially because SMGs tend to be our close range option, and just having that to use it like a little medium range is good as well. Next, we got the Bruiser grip for movement speed and hip fire accuracy. This really helps with a lot to be more accurate and that increased mobility and movement speed. Next, we got the Stanag 50 round drum, just an extra, bullets to put in this weapon. It comes with 30 bullets. You can also use the 40 round drum if you want a little bit more ADS speed, I believe. But I do recommend using the 50 round drum just to maximize the ammo that you have in this weapon. Next, we got the Tiger Team Spotlight, which grants us movement speed, aim, walk, and movement speed. Like I say always, man, you want to have that extra mobility, especially on these close range weapons. Last but not least, this is something that I personally love, and it's the Duster stock. This really gives us increased slide speed, and when you use it, it's like you're gonna be like, wow, you really like, especially if you somebody that like breaking camera angles or you just like maneuvering around enemies, this is really something good to use. But I also recommend you can use the no stock just for that strength of fire time, or the Raider stock for ADS fire and movement speed, aim walking movement speed, and strength of fire time really just gives us that extra mobility. So these are my top 5 SMGs in the season 5 update. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you drop a like, sub, and I'm your boy Big Cartiier, and I'm out. Peace.